Green, who's also there interacting with Governor Hope Uzodinma. Beside him, there we see the Chief of Staff to President Bola Tinubu, Femi Gbadabiamila. We'll see the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu. That looks like the Minister of Information, Muhammad Idris. They're all gathered to bid former President Muhammad Buhari farewell. He will be committed to Margaret and the now.
This is the difference I'm trying to explain. If you buy from here, I can say yes.
You say you don't have food.
So even if you want to go tomorrow, I'm sure they don't.
Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbadabiamila, in conversation with both the President and Vice President.
We might still be able to get an old from
Perhaps trying to get clarification on some matters before the committal process. Speaker of the House of Representatives is sitting on the left of the President-elect, the Ambassador, all seated, waiting patiently. And behind the President standing there is son of the President, Tinubu.
Even the Oppo, maybe only one 5G like you saw here today. Only one 5G. All the other phones, 4G, 4G. Even between 4G in 2025, exactly.
The Governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf, is also in attendance. It's good to see that even in death, Muhammad Buhari is a unifying force, bringing together people from different political divides, people of different faith, gathering in solemn reverence for the man who has had the opportunity to lead Nigeria in different capacities. First as military president, and then later as democratically elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Live pictures from Daura in Katsina State, where former President Muhammad Buhari will be interred any moment now. TVC News is live at the graveside, bringing you pictures, moment by moment, of events taking place there. Pictures there of President Bola Tinubu, who is leading the nation in mourning the man, Muhammad Buhari, his predecessor as President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. All is set. You can see a close-up picture there of the grave. Remember, former President Muhammad Buhari was a Muslim, and he's been buried today in line with Islamic rites. He died on Sunday at a London clinic at the age of 82. After which President Bola Tinubu ordered his Vice President Kashim Shettima to lead the federal government delegation to both commiserate with his family in London and to accompany the body back home to Nigeria. Security is watertight in and around the residence of the former President Muhammad Buhari, as military personnel, alongside sister security agencies, work together to ensure a smooth process for this state funeral of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Any moment now, his body would be committed to Mother Earth. TVC News is live at the Daura residence of the former president to bring you live coverage of the committal process, which begins any moment now. Just before now, prayers were offered for the repose of the soul of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari. Before that, we saw family members gathered around the ambulance conveying his body to both pray and pay their last respects. It was an 88-kilometer journey from the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua International Airport, where the Nigerian Air Force aircraft conveying his body touched down at about 2 p.m. West African time. President Bola Tinubu personally received the body, and then the onward journey began to Daura in Katsina State, where his body will be interred.
The simplicity of this whole process is what will rekindle the thought of the vanity of life in itself. For a man who was the military head of state of a large country like Nigeria, controlled several things, resources, natural and human, and then later came back to be a democratically elected president for 8 years with so much power. At a time like this, all he has is a very small portion of land and a very, without any fanfare, without any decoration, without anything that would thing, to suggest that this was a man of affluence. So those of us that are still living will be left with the thought that after all we are running around for, after all we are laboring ourselves about, when a time like this comes, this is all we get and nothing more. President taking a stand, taking a place around the graveside, waiting for that moment that everyone had been waiting for, when the body of former President Muhammadu Buhari will be committed to Mother Earth.
And we also see the son of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, in these live pictures. Dignitaries gathered around the grave to pay their last respect. Any moment from now, the body of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, will be laid to rest. This is the final stage of paying respect to the former president. Muhammadu Buhari has been described by President Bola Tinubu as a patriot, a soldier, and a statesman who served Nigeria with unwavering dedication. Live on your screen is the son of the former president, Muhammad Buhari, and a conversation with President Bola Tinubu. Muhammad Buhari has been described as a statesman, a former statesman in Nigeria, soldier, with unwavering dedication to Nigeria. And that's the son of former President Muhammad Buhari discussing with President Bola Tinubu. Any moment from now, we'll see the former president being committed to Mother Earth.
One of the good things today is that the temperature in Katsina is not as hot as it used to be. While the temperature in Lagos is about 28 degrees centigrade, that of Katsina today is about 32.
QuickBooks gives me the superpower to automate my invoices, track expenses, and get paid fast, so I can get back to what I love. Get more done in
The place for the funeral, and that's a bit more comfortable for them to participate in this process. Some pictures we saw a while ago still suggest that the road is still blocked with several people, thousands of people and vehicles, still lining up on the road. It's something that we cannot imagine how it's going to end, because this suggests, the possibility of many people driving out of the town back to Katsina or wherever they came from is very high, and we hope that everything works out well and people return to wherever they're coming from safely. We're still waiting for that particular moment when the body of the former president will be brought in here, and then the final stage of the ritual take place before the body is lowered into the ground, sealing that journey that began on Sunday evening. To this point, we are all waiting, patiently waiting. The world is waiting. Nigerians are waiting. People of Katsina are waiting, and we are here waiting and monitoring for you.
Indeed, TVC News is live at the graveside there, bringing you live pictures of moment by moment activities as the world watches to see the committal of former President Muhammad Buhari to Mother Earth. That should happen any moment now. In pictures there, it does appear security operatives are trying to make the place orderly, trying to determine who stays where to ensure that everything goes smoothly. And Lupe Asoma, reporter, mentioned earlier that there is already a directive that whoever behaves unruly should be sent out of that space.
Military personnel are seen marching into the arena now. That suggests that we are very close to the moment we've been waiting for. We see some military personnel. They are followed closely by, they are rolling in the body of the former president, now covered in national flag. We know already that this body will be carried by senior military officers at the rank of Major General. Our correspondent Lupa Som had told us earlier that getting access into this environment was a very daunting task, and that limits the number of cameramen you can have in that space. It will be expected that TVC News will be the source for signal for most TV stations covering this burial. I'm not too sure about that, but I suspect because of the limitations earlier announced of people being able to access, gain access into that place. So TVC News right now might be this provider of the signal, and that will be a good thing for us to share with our colleagues.
home.
Every small choice you make can bring hope to someone in need of a life-saving heart surgery.
This is TVC News, a live coverage of the state funeral for former President Muhammadu Buhari. Citation of the former president is being read by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, at the graveside there at his residence in Daura. Any moments now, his body will be committed to Mother Earth.
Of former President Muhammadu Buhari being read by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher. Former President Muhammadu Buhari served this country in various capacities, and that's why you're seeing, the time it is taking for his citation to be read. He joined the military at a very young age. We hear at the age of 19 or thereabout. Served, rose through the ranks to become, a senior and ranking officer before he eventually worked with other officers in that coup in 1983, where they ousted the civilian administration of Alhaji Shehu Shagari. But he also came back in another capacity before he again re-emerged as a Democrat, reinvented himself as a Democrat, contested election 3 times, Ayo. But let's talk about a contested election 3 times. And on these 3 occasions, he also went to court. Doesn't that speak to his belief in Nigeria's justice system?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the first one, 2003, it cleared us at the Supreme Court, and he followed through. But by that time, we've not perfected our electoral act, so the thing spanned for almost 2.5 years before they could get justice. And it's on record all through that time. He wasn't attending the Council of State meeting. That's our principal demand, was. He wasn't attending the Council of State meeting. Once it's in court, he has a high speech on the court, and he appears in court cases all through. That time, I remember Chief Ume was one of his lawyers saying that, look, the man believes in the system, that it's a born-again Democrat, was described as a born-again Democrat. So in 2007, we followed through the same thing, the same pattern, but a lot of Nigerians will say that he was not appealing to the entire country. His candidacy was not appealing to the entire country, that you have to have the spread, as stated in the Constitution, that 24 out of 20.
Committal process begins now for former President Muhammadu Buhari. The national flag is being folded and will be handed over to a member of the Buhari family. Right, so this is tradition. This flag is a symbol of Nigeria. It's a national flag, and now being folded in a particular manner according to tradition. and in honor of the man, Muhammad Buhari, who has served as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, first as military president, and later as democratically elected president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So once that process is concluded now, that flag,
the body to be committed to Mother Earth. And watching this process, of course, is the president and the vice president. We see them seated, waiting for this process to end. So the body.
Yeah, the moment now, the flag has been handed
It's
over.
been handed over to a member of the family. And a salute to the same member by the military force. Okay. This is symbolic, showing respect for the former president. We see the vice president, Kashim Shettima, approaching the body, the gravesite, as the national flag has been handed over. We also see the national flag being removed from the body of the former president, Muhammad Buhari. I would expect that next is committing the body to Mother Earth.
And in any moment now, the body of former President Muhammad Buhari would be interred. We see some of the dignitaries standing there around the body. It's quite a busy scene there, but our cameraman is doing his best to give us a shot as close as possible of the process. The body being lowered there.
We hear prayers being made.
And we are finally
For a tasty meal, choose Gold. Terra Gold. One cube, endless possibilities.
We have live coverage still coming from Dara, the residence of former President Muhammad Buhari, where his body has just been committed to Mother Earth. Here in the studio, I have my colleagues Olamide Adeyemi and Nifemi Oguntoye as we continue this special coverage of the state funeral for the former president. Nifemi.
Indeed, Ambassador, it's been a day of reflection and national mourning. We saw Mr. President lead the entire nation to show last respect for former President Muhammadu Buhari. His body departed London's Heathrow earlier this morning around 7:48 a.m. accompanied by close family. I don't think it can get better than this, seeing the entire casino state shut down for the former president. They've talked about how he's had that 12 million votes, but he probably would have more people supporting him even in death. But it speaks to the full cycle of life. You follow his story, how he was head of state, how he tried to become president for 3 or 4 times, and he's done his 8 years. Opinions remain divided as to his performance though, but you cannot deny how respected he has remained, even long after his death. I think that it speaks a lot about the honor that we bestow on our leaders in Nigeria. And I also think that all of the leaders, because we found out that political leaders have gathered in Katsina, I'm sure that they're paying attention also to how much respect is getting. I think it should inspire them to be able to do better, because after the deed is done, when you are gone, all that matters is the impact you've been able to make and how much value you've brought to the people that elected you to serve. The big question I've now arisen as to what happens post-Buhari, who provides that kind of leadership politically for the North. I remember speaking with a spokesperson, Galbra Shehu, who just recently launched a book, According to Mr. President, and he talked about how patient, how silent has been, and how unattached he chooses to be, especially post his presidency, that we now have a new president and is giving him enough time to lead. There are big questions as to who takes over, but I think it's left a really big shoe that we will now find time to see who has the capacity to be able to lead on from here, especially as we count down to 2027.
Yes, indeed. It's a big challenge, but I believe that in the coming days and weeks, there will be some clear answers to that. But this is definitely the end of an era and the beginning of another. It's been a day of mourning, and we have 7 whole days of mourning. This is just day 3. This began on Sunday, and for the next 4 days, we would witness that. Today, national holiday, public holiday was declared, so people can really take a moment to reflect on the life of this man and say what we can learn from him. Also, there already talks about immortalizing him. He's left a huge legacy. What things can we do? What national projects can we embark upon? What renamings can we do? What new projects can we launch to actually celebrate what he represented as a leader who had led in capacity as military president and also as democratically elected president of our dear nation, Nigeria.
And the whole world is watching Olamide. They call it the final homecoming. We hardly speak ill of the dead in Nigeria, but this is also going to turn a lot of attention to his legacy, the controversies, the enduring impact of the man who led Nigeria through some of its most defining moments. We saw 2 economic recessions. There was the challenge with the NSAS protests, there was the banning of Twitter.
There was the
young people, yes, there was COVID-19 as well. Young people are crazy about their comments as to what they make of him in these years. It's a little bit different from what the political class thinks.
And President Bola Tinubu described the man as one who had unwavering dedication, irrespective of opinions and whatnot. He's laid to it today. And it's a moment of, reflection for not just, Nigerians, but also, leaders within Nigeria and outside Nigeria. You can't see the simplicity of who the man Buhari was. It's clear even in the funeral rites that we have seen today. Quite simple residence where he stayed. Very simple. And so this is also, a moment of reflection for not just, we also hear that The man Buhari has served. He has done his bit to Nigeria, irrespective of opinions and whatnot. He has been described as one of the greatest leaders Nigeria had, irrespective of some tongues, some down tones, and we've seen a lot of condolences coming, not just within Nigeria. And from the pictures that you see, live on this screen today, you can be able to decipher how much of his support, he got from not just within Daura, but outside the state. And we saw the military also come out to also pay their last respect, which is one of the highest respect you can give one who was a commander-in-chief.
Absolutely.
Let's listen to what's going on. The military is honoring the former president, Muhammadu Buhari.
وأنت من يزل الرئيس من خرج خير المنزل اللهم اسقنا فسيح جناتك اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وتوفنا مسلمين واحشرنا في زمرة النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين برحمتك يا ارحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم لا تحرمنا اجره ولا تفتنا بعده. اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولاشياخنا ولمن سبقنا بالايمان بحق صلاه الفاتح. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي الى صراطك المستقيم وعلى اله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. صلاه لا منتهى لها دون علمك، صلاه ترضيك وترضيه وترضى بها عنا وعن والدينا وعن ازواجنا وذرياتنا ورب العالمين. اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولاشياخنا ولمن سبقنا بالايمان. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقنا بالايمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين امنوا ربنا انك رؤوف رحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزه عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
It is indeed the end of an era from a military leader to winning a historic electoral victory in 2015. The first time we saw an opposition leader win an incumbent. We are watching live from Daura the final interment for former President Muhammadu Buhari. Let's bring in our State House correspondent Femi Akode live in Abuja. Femi, we probably haven't seen anything like this in recent history. Walk us through especially the position of the Tinubu administration as to honoring the former president.